Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance that was released in the year 2002. The fragrance is known as Marc Jacobs for Men by Marc Jacobs. Now, Marc Jacobs is a scent that's been around for a while now, since 2002. It has a little bit of infamy in the fragrance community, and I'm surprised that I actually haven't gotten to review this yet, but I was taking a list of some of the stuff that I hadn't reviewed and that had been requested, and this one came up, so I figured why not go ahead and get into it. So the design, as you can see, is very simple. It's just got a clean, kind of rectangular look to it with a black top on it. It's a little bit different from most other fragrances, but it's very simple, very elegant, and I have no problems with the box or the actual sprayer for the fragrance. Now, the fragrance comes in two main sizes. It comes in a 2.5 ounce and a 4.2 ounce. The 2.5 is going to run you about $64 retail, and the 4.2 is going to run you about $80 retail. So it's well within designer price limits, not too high, not too low, but still the fact that you can get it for a lot cheaper because it was released in the year 2002. You can see it on a lot of discount sites. The prices that I just mentioned are of retail. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into the notes of this fragrance. The notes consist of, at our top, we have citrus, bergamot, cardamom, cumin, and ginger. For our mid, we have fig leaf, rose, cyclamen, water notes. And for base, we have tonka bean, patchouli, oak moss, and cedar. So the smell that you get right off the bat, this fragrance is infamous because it's known as one of the better fig fragrances. Now, fig to me is a little bit of it's a problem note, just because I don't like fig. I don't like the smell fig that's in most fragrances. I think when it's done a little bit, I guess you could say on the cautious side, that's when I tend to like those fragrances a little bit more. But when fig is the prominent note, I tend not to agree with it. And unfortunately, this fragrance kind of lands in that realm. The first scent that you get immediately is a figgy smell to it. Now, it says fig leaf, and I have to agree with that because it's more of a green fig coming from it rather than the real pure fruit from it, but it definitely still is a fig scent. Now, there's another note that I get that isn't listed in the notes, and that's coconut. It's like fig and coconut smashed together and producing this scent. Now, the scent isn't overly powerful. It's definitely more of a subdued scent. You're going to get a little bit under average fragrance performance with this, and it lasts generally about, I want to say, 6 hours at maximum on my skin. Most of the time it was between 4 and 5 hours that it was, close to the skin and almost gone at that point. So it's not a powerhouse of a fragrance, but after that fig and coconut, which kind of remains throughout the entire scent, you get a little bit more, it becomes a little bit more creamy. You get a little bit more of the floral notes that are in it, especially the rose. You get a little bit more of rose that I can detect from it. And as it dries down, you get the sweetness of the tonka. The tonka really comes out to it, and overall, though, it remains a creamy fig coconut smelling type of a fragrance. Now, because this was released in the year 2002, kind of going back and thinking, and I realized this actually probably was a little bit more, I guess you could say, revolutionary for the fact of for what it actually produced. By revolutionary, I mean a lot of the fragrances that were released around that time, and especially a little bit before, were more powerhouse fragrances, and this was part of that transition that was getting a little bit more into the subtle fragrances. So for that, what that is worth, I would say I would give it a little bit better marks. But this was released in 2002. This is now 2015. There have been a lot of advancements on this, and this one still gives me a little bit trouble. I go about 3 sprays with this fragrance. I think it's perfect for any age. I think you can wear it in the spring and summer primarily, just because I think you really need the heat to kind of bring this one out a little bit. If you want to think about it this way, I would say that this kind of reminds me of like Virgin Island water smashed together with some fig leaf. It doesn't have that rum vibe that Virgin Island water does have, but the coconut vibe from it really reminds me of it. That's not to say that the two fragrances smell alike, because they definitely go in different directions, but that's to kind of give you an idea of the coconut fig vibe that I'm getting from this fragrance. Now, occasion-wise, I think that's one of the strong points of this fragrance, is that you can use it for almost every single occasion that you think of. It's a highly versatile fragrance. Sorry about the train. I'm going to be apologizing that for another like 6 months to a year, but either way. Anyways, Highly versatile fragrance. You can wear it to work, you can wear it casually, you can wear it on a date, although personally I wouldn't. And compliment wise, I didn't really get any compliments with this fragrance just because of the fact that it's, when I mentioned earlier that it has poor projection and poor sillage, that usually means that people can't smell you and they weren't able to really smell me. When I gave it to them to actually have a sniff test, a little bit more positive results, and people were generally very receptive to this fragrance and did give it some good marks. All right. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating of a 6 out of 10. Now, a 6 out of 10 may be a little bit harsh, but I'll tell you why. One, I'll start with the good. The good, it's definitely a unique fragrance. Even since it was out in 2002, it still is a relatively unique fragrance if you were to go ahead and apply this one now and wear it around. You really won't find many people smelling like you at all. It's a very subtle fragrance that I like. I love subtle fragrances. I think that you don't have to scream and shout in order to get your point across. It's a very original fragrance, and it's highly versatile outside of, wearing it in the winter months. That said, the negatives for this fragrance. One, to me, nauseous. It just makes me nauseous, and I can't take it for that. And it's just a weird smelling scent. It's not a bad smelling scent. I still think this fragrance actually smells good, but for some reason or another, it makes me nauseous. I can't explain it. It just comes off as weird and just churns my stomach. Two, it's got very, very, very poor performance. The performance on this, yes, it is a subtle fragrance, but again, only 5 hours or so on my skin, and even then, all throughout the time, it's really not projecting at all. It projects for maybe the first 30 minutes, and after that, it just dies down, almost gone. So you may be tempted to kind of overspray this and go crazy on it, but just be warned again, it does have some decent projection in the first half an hour, so if you can wait it out, by all means. And just in general, I can't really, even if I liked Fig and I came across this scent, I may be tempted to add it to my collection, but I still think that there are a couple other Figs, like one from Diptyque, that I liked a little bit more than this one. And I just can't get behind this one for some strange reason. And so it gets that. All of that aside, give it a try. See if you like it. If you like fig fragrances, this may be a fragrance for you just because it's so heavily involved in fig. And you have to like a coconut type smelling scent because it's those two scents, even though the coconut note is not listed. All right? Thank you. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day. Let me know what you think about Marc Jacobs for Men. Take care.